You ever wonder what the single foundational idea is behind one of the world's most significant alliances? It's not some super complicated doctrine or a huge list of goals. Nope, it's just one core concept. And that's exactly what we're going to break down right now.
So it really all boils down to one simple, but honestly super powerful distinction. Was this whole thing built to start fights or to stop them from happening in the first place? Getting that difference, well, that's the key to understanding its entire original mission.
See, right from the get-go, this alliance was built literally from the ground up on one single clear guiding principle. It was never about, grabbing land or forcing its ideas on others. It was about something completely different.
So what even is a defensive alliance? Well, think of it like this. It's basically a pact where a bunch of nations get together and say, hey, if someone attacks you, they're attacking all of us. The absolute key here is that it's a reaction. It's all about protection and making would-be attackers think twice. It's a shield, not a sword. Simple as that.
Okay, so who were these nations? Who actually signed up for this big idea of mutual defense? And you gotta understand, this wasn't just a couple of neighboring countries making a pact. No, this was a massive international commitment. 12. That's the number. 12 founding members decided to tie their fates together, to bind their security as one. And what's so fascinating isn't just the number 12 itself, it's who these countries were and where they were from.
And this list, wow, it just perfectly shows you the scale of this thing. Just look at it. You've got the North American heavy hitters over here, the United States and Canada. And then, across the pond, a whole coalition of 10 European nations. Everything from the UK and France down to smaller countries like Luxembourg and even Iceland. This is what made it a true transatlantic alliance. It literally bridged an ocean with one powerful promise of security.
But, a list of countries is one thing. It doesn't really capture the soul of the agreement, right? To really get that, we have to listen to the words of one of the main architects. This is where the philosophy, the big why behind it all, really clicks into place.
And here it is. This is from 1949. The U.S. Secretary of State at the time, Dean Acheson, he laid it out with such perfect clarity. You could argue this single quote is the most powerful and to-the-point summary of the alliance's entire founding mission. So let's really dig into why it's so important.
The best way to really get it is to break his statement down into two simple parts. First, there's the clarification, what the treaty isn't. And second, there's the definition, what it is. And that simple two-step logic, that's the bedrock of the entire idea.
Okay, let's start with part one, the clarification. Not directed against anyone. This is such a crucial point. The founders were basically shouting from the rooftops that this wasn't some exclusive club designed to gang up on a specific country or some ideology. They were trying to set up a universal principle.
And that leads us right into part two, the definition. The alliance wasn't targeting a who, it was targeting a what. And that what was the act of aggression itself. It didn't matter who was doing the attacking. The enemy wasn't a country, it was the act of an unprovoked attack. And that's what made this promise so principled and honestly so incredibly broad.
All right, so let's put all the pieces together. You take that big group of founding nations we looked at, and you combine it with this really powerful philosophy from Dean Acheson, and what do you get? Well, you get right back to that one clear guiding principle that we talked about at the very beginning.
So, if there's one single idea to take away from all this, it's this. This alliance was designed from day one to be defensive, not offensive. It was meant to be a collective shield built to scare off aggression and protect its members, not to go out looking for a fight.
And that leaves us with a really fascinating question, especially for today. What happens when the very idea of aggression changes? When it evolves from tanks rolling across a border to things like cyber attacks or disinformation campaigns or all this hybrid warfare stuff we hear about? How does an alliance built on that one single principle adapt its mission for a totally new era? Definitely something to chew on.